All right, Ammon, let's take a look at this architecture. It looks a little bit complicated. We're going to try to map all the content of Metasploit framework to an understandable logic. The Metasploit framework file system is laid out in a very intuitive manner, and as you can see, it's organized by directory. Now we can see all the interfaces, the plugins, the modules, they're all communicating, but only with MSF base. So step by step, we're going to start with the interfaces. All right. The Metasploit framework provides a GUI, web, and console interface called MSF Console and a command line interface called MSF CLI.
MSF Console is really the most popular interface in the Metasploit framework. It provides everything that you're going to need to launch an exploit. Load auxiliary modules, perform enumeration, create listeners, or run mass exploitation against multiple targets. Now, it is the only supported way to access most of the features within Metasploit. It is the most stable Metasploit interface as well. MSF Console also offers tab completion to open MSF Console. Let's go ahead and open your terminal and type MSF Console.
All right, MSF CLI provides a powerful command line interface to the Metasploit framework, but one thing it doesn't do, it doesn't support any of the advanced automation features of MSF Console. So MSF CLI is an excellent interface for scripting, allowing you to redirect its output to other command line tools or redirect output from other tools into MSF CLI. MSF CLI can be used like MSF Console to launch exploits or auxiliary modules, but it is much more difficult to use. It's useful for specific tasks such as testing or developing a new exploit. MSF CLI is suitable when you know exactly which exploit and options you need. So to run MSF CLI, open your terminal and type MSF CLI. Type MSF CLI -H to get more help. Now you can use a web browser to launch Metasploit. If you install Metasploit on a Windows machine, you will probably end up using this interface right here. Now, web interface is suitable for small companies and students. To open Metasploit GUI, open your terminal and type MSF GUI, GUI. From the Metasploit's graphic user interface, you can do pretty much the same things as you can do from other interfaces. GUI is very helpful if you're new to Metasploit framework. Now, if you feel that MSF GUI is easier for you to use, check out Armitage. It's a free GUI front end for the Metasploit framework developed by Raphael Mudge. All that you really need now is to move your mouse around, and the target is right in your hands. You're ready to go. You have all the control you need. Armitage intends to automate your work on Metasploit. Instead of testing the exploits manually on MSF, Armitage can do that for you and much, much more.
Now, all of these interfaces communicate with MSF base, which really is just a friendly and simplified API that's used by the framework. MSF base contacts MSF core, where we find the basic API of the Metasploit, and then there the Metasploit framework is defined. The endpoint is Rex. Rex is the basic library for most tasks. This really handles sockets, protocols, text transformations, and others. Examples are SSL, SMB, HTTP, XOR or base4, Unicode, etc.
So here's a question for you. Why do tools communicate directly with Rex? Aren't they supposed to go by the same protocols? Well, before you answer that, Ammon, that's what makes Metasploit framework cool. I know. And if you have different tools on your Linux distro and you want them to communicate with or use Metasploit, there you go. It's all set up. As an example, you can run Nmap from within Metasploit. Although it is a completely different application, you can still use it and see the results in your Metasploit session. Plugins have to contact the base first, so they only work from MSF Console. The main benefit of plugins is to add new console commands, more functionality. They extend that functionality of the framework.
Now, Jeff, let's go over a few of the modules.
Sure. Okay.
The exploit module contains both passive and active exploits. Now, an example of an active exploit is one that exploits a buffer overflow, whereas a passive exploit is something along the lines of a fake DNS server, which, of course, reroutes an unsuspecting user to a malicious site. Payloads usually consist of some code to run, as well as some parameters defining how a connection to the compromised system might be made.
Right, and then from there, encoders are used to encode the payload before it gets sent to a remote computer. Now, this is done to prevent the payload from being detected by an antivirus program. The NOP's purpose is to generate no operation instructions that are used as padding around some of the payloads in order to keep their size consistent. Metasploit has a wide array of post-exploitation exploitation modules that can run on compromised targets to gather evidence. They can pivot deeper into a target network.
That's right.
And much, much more. It's all about clarity and getting the view you need.
Absolutely. The Metasploit framework also includes hundreds of auxiliary modules that perform scanning, fuzzing, sniffing, and much more. Now, although these modules will not give you a shell, they are extremely valuable when conducting a penetration test. Metasploit architecture is more complex than this, really, but for now, we just need to understand the basics of it. Now, if you wish to go deeper in this subject, Rapid7 has a great documentation on how Metasploit works.